I'm so excited to talk to you first because you are the heart of this show. Um, I read this beautiful paragraph you wrote on your Instagram about this journey to get to where you are now. This is your baby, your show.
Oh,
Can you
yeah.
kind of give me a brief timeline of everything it took for you to get to actually getting to show off this show that belongs to you?
Oh, yeah. Well, I've been a TV writer for a long time. I've been a TV writer for 19 years. And I have worked my way up the ladder, up the ranks of TV writing. And I've been a showrunner before. I've run other shows that were created by other people, but this is the first time that I have a show that I created myself, and that's really exciting. And then of course there were plenty of years before that where I was trying to get a job as a writer and working towards that. So it's really exciting to be here and with a project that feels so personal to me too, because I really did relate so personally to this story of a wife and mom who, can't stop thinking about her single girl in the city days and yearning for that time and the sort of sparkly fever dream that it was, and is asking herself, where did that other girl go? So it's maybe all happened for a reason to be here with this project now.
Right? It seems like every direction was intentional, even though might not have felt like it at the time. I definitely had a Brad. Do you think
Ooh.
everybody had a Brad? Is this just like a general thing?
I mean, I in a way, I sure hope so, because as much trouble as he is, he's just so impossibly sexy and gorgeous, and their nights are incredible. And I hope everybody gets a taste of that kind of excitement and passion in their past. But I certainly think my girlfriends and I, everybody has like the one who got away, or the one that you got away from, that maybe sometimes you Google late at night or look up on Facebook, or try to see like what's he doing, and what would my life look like if I'd gone, the other way.
What were you looking for in a Cooper and a Brad? I mean, Billie is a whole nother ballgame. That's an incredible character, but it really does feel like this is a show created by women for women. What were you looking for when it came to Cooper and Brad? These are characters you just don't forget.
Yeah, oh, that's great. Well, Cooper, I think what's so great about Mike Vogel as Cooper is that there's such sort of emotional depth and vulnerability to him. I think it would be very easy. I mean, I'd like to think it's in the writing too, but it would be very easy in another actor's hands for Cooper to be just sort of the vanilla husband, a little bit more square, not satisfying his wife's needs, that kind of thing. But Mike is just so intelligent and so soulful that you really feel for him too, and as a working parent myself, I really feel for him, because I know what that's like. You get busy, you get exhausted with two kids, and suddenly you're like, oh right, I have to keep this other part of the relationship alive, and then with Adam Demos, Adam and I had worked together on Unreal before, and so I actually thought of him when I was writing the script, and I thought, oh, he might be right for Brad. And it's certainly sort of deeper emotional material than we had given him on Unreal, and so I was like, I wonder if he'd be up for that. And then he sent in his audition tape to be like, hell yes, I'm up for this. And what's so beautiful about him, I mean, he's just such a sweetheart as in real life. Adam Demos is such a sweetheart, and I feel like that comes across with Brad, is that even when he's, you know, the bad boy, or has his own baggage, and he's acting out because of it, you just still are rooting for him. And as the season progresses and sort of the onion is peeled, you see this beautiful emotion and vulnerability for him, and he really put himself out there, so that you understand why Billie keeps getting drawn back to him, and hopefully the audience will be too.
Adam, Stacy told me that when she was writing this role, Brad, she thought of you. So I'm just like wondering how much of is it a stretch for these fantastic women to be fighting over this stud? Is this just a typical Tuesday for you?
It's a stretch. I think she saw talent in me that I didn't know I had, because yeah, that's a stretch for sure. It means the world to me, you know, and I'm glad that she didn't tell me at the time, because I would have had too much pressure thinking about it when I did the audition. But I'm certainly grateful that it went my way. Yeah. And I'm forever grateful to Stacey. You know, I've worked with her before on Unreal, and then now, you know, on her baby, Sex Life. It's really cool.
It is cool. It's such a fun show. Margaret, I read that this is your first series regular role. Is that true?
Yeah. I
Isn't
just
that
dive
crazy?
into the deep end.
Isn't that crazy? Because you are such a force on this show. You get to dress cool. Your hair is amazing. You have such a fun character. I mean, how amazing that this is what puts you on the map. I love it. Can you tell me, what was it like to play Sasha? Do you love her? Would you be her friend?
Oh my God, I want to be Sasha when I grow up. I really do. I think she's iconic. I feel so blessed to have, begun this kind of phase in my career with not only a character that I admire and that I've drawn so much inspiration and strength from, but with a team, a creative team that was just so supportive and so empowering in how they worked with me and guided me through what has been the weirdest way to have your first series regular ever happen. So yeah, I feel really lucky to play Sasha. She's just so dynamic, and loyal and fierce, and she's got her own independent thing going, and in many ways she's living this life that Billie craves and that I think a lot of women would crave. And it's really powerful when you're stepping into a character like that. You can't help but have that essence rub off on you. And so I feel very lucky to have, the essence of Sasha Snow living within me.
Oh, I know. And the first name, last name, when I first read that, I was like, oh my God, this is
Yeah.
incredible. She could have a spinoff. I'm signing up right now. I'm ready for it.
Hey, we love to hear it.
Adam, what was your first impression? Because when I read about the show, and then when I watched the preview of it, it was very different than my impression of actually seeing the show itself. The show in itself, the way some of the intimacy is shot, is like art. And at first I was like, wow, this could be pretty salacious, but it's beautiful.
It's beautiful, and every one of those sex scenes drives the emotion of the storyline, and it shows where the characters are at in their lives and emotionally. And that's what's so incredible about the writing too. That's what I was like, oh wow, every single one serves a purpose to each character and to the story. And it's just like, credit to these writers, man. They're unbelievable.
Okay, now I just have a few seconds left, or maybe a few minutes left. I want to talk to you, Margaret. This is like typically a dud question at junkets, but I can't help it. Your clothing is so bomb. Did you love it? What was your favorite outfit? And did you get to keep anything?
So unfortunately, I did not get to keep a single piece of clothing from Sasha's phenomenal wardrobe. But maybe if we get a season 2, who knows? But I feel really lucky that in this world, which is set in New York City, I got this character who's, this former fashion model. She's, quite accomplished in her career. So the way she presents herself is so critical to her identity. And she just has such a great sense of style, thanks to our designer, Avery. But yeah, it was an absolute blast. I would say my favorite look to wear was toward the end of the season, when Sasha is on her book tour for a book that she's written. She's in this phenomenal piece that has some Balmain in it, as well as some Christopher John Rogers, who are two, Balmain's house is run by a Black man, and Christopher John Rogers is also Black. And for me, that was really important to incorporate as many Black designers and female designers into the season. And thankfully, our design team was completely on board with that.
Well, that's the best answer I've ever got. So maybe I won't drop that question from now on. I like your style. Margaret's
You
here.
gotta ask the right person.
Yes.
Yeah.
Congratulations on the show, guys. It's amazing, and I can't wait to see what the universe has in store for you. Hi, Mike. I'm Kinsey.
Hi, Kinsey. How are you?
Great. How are you?
I'm well, thank you.
I just wanted to congratulate you on aging backwards.
Yeah, if only. If only.
I've been a fan for a very long time, and it just seems like you don't age. So
Oh,
congratulations.
you're so sweet. Thank you. Thank you.
Absolutely. So I really enjoyed this show. It's so much fun. I hope that it was as fun to make as it is to watch. But I have to tell you, I really sympathized with Cooper. And I don't know, did when you read that, he seems like a very good husband, a very good man. His priorities really do seem like they're in the right spot a lot of the time. So did you sympathize with him as you got to know him, as you read the script and you became this character?
100%. I mean, my heart breaks for him because I think it speaks to so many long relationships. Anyone who's been in a relationship for any amount of time, you realize the pitfalls of complacency and laziness. And I had someone say to me years ago, never stop dating your wife. And when you do, that's it. And so I think that that's the pitfall that Cooper's fallen into. I've built the perfect life, the perfect home, perfect family, and it's afforded him these blind spots. And also, I think there's a degree that Billie assumed the role of the great wife, and did the right thing. But in doing so, there's this whole other desire inside of her that she never expressed to Cooper, that he had no idea he was even having to contend with until he reads this journal. And very quickly he's trying to go, okay, can I step into those shoes? Years and years and years later, she has a line in the show that I think encapsulates everything. She said, my husband is 85% everything that I want. It's the damn 15% that I can't get out of my head. And I think if we've done our jobs right, people will be going, so you've got the 15% here. Is it worth working on? Or is it worth, honey, lose the dead weight of the husband and go for the hot Aussie sex pot, and I think people will view that through the lens of whatever they're going through.
Well, I don't know if my opinion matters, but I was definitely Cooper, just so you know. I also wondered, and you kind of answered this just a second ago, but congratulations, 18 years of marriage. That's insane. There's a
Yeah.
scene where you go to a coworker and you kind of confide in him. What would you give Cooper? What advice would you give him? I mean, aside from like, try not to read your wife's diary.
Yeah, right. Let's start there. Um, I think the biggest advice, and I can only speak to this as a man because again, I'm wholly unqualified to speak to women. Are incredible to me how you juggle motherhood, a home, business, all of the many things that you have to juggle. And so with that comes a lot of putting yourself aside. And as men, we have this thing, I think, where we take everything at face value instead of realizing the beautiful complexity of 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 a woman, of your wife. And so, hey, Coop, she's saying a lot when she's not saying anything. And I think it's learning to read that, and none of us do that well. It's something that's learned over time and with great communication. So hopefully season 2, Coop gets back on the horse and starts listening a little more now that he knows what he's up against.
Hi, Sarah. I'm Kinsey with The Nocturnal. You're the prettiest person in the world.
Oh my God, you're so awesome. Thank you. Hi, kids. How are you?
Great. I had so much fun watching the show. Congratulations on Sex Life and congratulations on Billie. I mean, this is probably the coolest character I've seen in television in a really long time. Did you get how special she was as you originally saw the script?
Oh yeah. Thank you. I really did. I mean, when I first read the script, there were a lot of things that were going through my head. First of all, I was turned on, which I thought was weird, just being able to read a script. So that happened. I'm going to be very frank. And then on top of that, it's like, I loved her passion for life. She was a character who would just like you know, she was dynamite in a box, and she had an appetite for life that was larger than Texas, and so sort of unapologetic for wanting to have it all, you know. And then I could really, there was a part of me that really could relate to some of the things that she was going through. You know, I myself am a mother, and motherhood is complex and it's messy, and you can be a really great, solid mom, but then also still question the choices that you've made. And that was something that I felt like, you know, I've had a lot of experience with.
That's so neat. I never would have guessed that because you look like such a rock star. I would have never felt this internal debate going on. Would you be friends with Billie? She just seems like the coolest girl, the ultimate girl's girl. I mean, she's so forgiving towards Sasha over something I don't know if I could be so forgiving over. And she seems to collect these people around her that are just naturally cheering her on.
Yeah, well, yeah, absolutely. I'd be friends with Billie. You know, it's like this is a character where I hope I get the privilege of playing her for many moons to come. You know, and in terms of her relationship with Sasha, you know, it's this show does a lot of firsts well in terms of how the sex is, you know, portrayed through the female lens. There's a lot of firsts that this show does well, but one of the things that I love too is her relationship with Sasha, and the way in which, you know, these two characters go to show. Because a lot of times if you have two girls that are interested in the same guy, it becomes a fight. But these two characters are so close, they're thicker than thieves. And so it's just, it goes to show that, you know, come hell or high water, no man is going to get between these two. And I love that they really work it out with one another. But I'd be friends with her for so many reasons. You know, it's like I said, not only can I relate to her struggles to want more, to insist more, to, you know, it's like you think you have it all, but there's something about it that it's just not enough, you know. But then also her wardrobe.
Oh my gosh, I wanted to ask you about that.
Pink leather jacket, come on. You know, the way Avery and Stacy sort of chose a lot of the early Billie looks. It was like a young Cher. We did a lot of fishnet, a lot of rhinestone, the cowboy boots, the skirt with the feathers. Like there was a sequins. Like it was a lot of early Cher. And oh my God, I would die to have those clothes.
Oh, yeah. No, I wanted to ask you about that because what I really sensed while watching the show is the evolution of your personality and the shift in the woman you became through your clothes. And so it was so fun to watch you be the pop out. You know, you were such a standout, but it almost felt like when you were with Cooper, you changed the way you dressed, you almost became the shell, you know. And so I thought that was really interesting.
Yes, and you're very smart to notice that. It was a very specific wardrobe choice. You know, when she met Cooper, she started dressing a different way. She started acting a different way. She became sort of that Connecticut version of what she thought he wanted. And ultimately, it's what she wanted too, because she wanted the stability and the comfort that someone like Cooper could bring to her. But she really did change a lot of herself to be in that relationship. And as we can see in the first episode, it's not who she is, and it comes to bite her in the ass.
Right. Well, and then when I was talking to Mike about Cooper, he said, you know, he felt guilty about the 15%, the quote you make about the 15%, and that his lens was on certain things, and it changed who he was. It changed how he behaved towards you. Do you feel like your character at all? Do you feel like Billie was also making some of these sacrifices to be what she thought was perfect, and in doing that, losing herself?
100%. That's exactly what she does. You know, it's like she's hiding, you know, she even says in the pilot, she's like, you know, when she met Cooper, she makes a decision right then and there to not tell him about the other guys that she's been with, to not tell him the kind of sex that she has had in the past, which is why it's such a shock to him. It's such a revelation when he discovers this other side to her that she's been hiding. It's almost like he doesn't even know who she is. She's been hiding it for so long, and it's such a big detail that she chose to leave out because she felt like she'd be judged for it.
Well, they're telling me to wrap, but congratulations on the show. You are such a joy to watch, and I appreciate your time today. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Cynthia. I appreciate you as well. Thank you. Have a good day.